Welcome to the Soul CEO podcast. This is Rachel Picard, and this is another episode teaching you how to build a profitable network marketing business with purpose without losing your family, your friends, or your soul. Today is very, very special because I have the most epic ninja networker on the line, Frazer Brookes. Frazer, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you said yes to this. I'm fangirling at this moment. I told my husband last night, I was like, tomorrow I got to get up early. I'm going to be interviewing Frazer for the podcast. And then about an hour later, he goes, whoa, you're getting on the phone with Frazer? I'm like, yes, he's getting on the phone with me. Guys, if you have not yet followed Frazer, he is amazing. Not only one of the most premier trainers inside of network marketing, he grew up in the profession. His network marketing experience is neonatal. It's neonatal. Like, he watched his parents make 8 figures in the industry. And but when he began his own personal career in 5 years, correct me if I'm wrong, Frazer, you built up a team of over 300,000 distributors in 5 years using social media. So like, you're speaking my language, you're speaking to all the soul CEOs listening here right now. And I was like, okay, we got to get him on the line. One, he's got the hottest wife, so we know he can sell. Secondly, the fact that this guy built up 300,000 people, there's something that you did. We need to pick your brain. I got my pen, I got my piece of paper. Give us the goods. Okay, so let's start a little bit about your story. Give us a little bit of background about you. I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Love you to pieces.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is so awesome. I'm grateful that you were able to wake up super early as well. I know it must be freezing where you are. And I'm sitting here with like literally slippers, shorts, and a t-shirt on, sweating buckets.
It's an Englishman by the way of Dubai.
Yeah, that's right. So hence why, if you can see me on the video, you can see me like it's kind of red brown. It's like brick brown, but it gets a little bit more mature. Anyway, I am Mr. Tangent. I will talk about all things besides what I'm actually supposed to talk about. Then I will come around, I promise. But yeah, my network marketing career started in 1987. Wasn't born until 1988. And my mum and dad thought that MLM was Make Love Monthly. That's what they thought it was, like Make Love Monthly, which still for me, saying that, I haven't really kind of really realized like what they were actually looking into.
How did that taste coming out of your mouth in every speech and every podcast? You're like, oh.
I say it and I try and catch it back, like I say, I don't know. So they went to an event. I was in the room, saw them make their fortunes. Back in a day where, hey, you weren't able to use social media because it didn't exist. The phones had wires connected to other things, and it was just an interesting time. But I was the kid who, when someone said to me, "What do you want to do when you're older?" I would say, "I want to do what my mum and dad do." And when they said, "What do your mum and dad do?" I would then say, "Network marketing." And when they said, "What's network marketing?" I would then say, I don't know. Like, I didn't know what it was. I used to tell my dad, "Dad, what do I say?" He said, "Just tell people I help them make money. That's it." So I started doing that. And as I grew older, I realized, although I want to be like my mum and dad, I want to do what my mum and dad have done because they're my heroes, they're my idols. I actually don't want to do what they do because I had this fear of public speaking, right? Had this fear of public speaking.
Which is beyond even like hard to imagine. It's like beyond even hard to imagine because if anybody has seen you on stage, you're one of the most prolific and entertaining trainers that I mean, legit. And everyone's got their own little idiosyncrasies or like specialness about them. There's some people that are, like you think about like your buddy and my mentor, Eric Worre. He's a completely different personality in the sense of style and equally super engaging. But I'll tell you, nobody leaves the room at GoPro when you're on stage. Nobody dare take a bathroom break because they're like, you don't know what's going to come out of his mouth. He's what are you, like 6'3"? You're going to use the entire stage back and forth. I mean, like, it's like your jungle gym. Okay, go carry on. I don't believe you. But people say that to me. I'm like, I told them, like, I used to be terrified of being on camera. They're like, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, I'm going to dig up some YouTubes.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, yeah, right. So I was the kid who traveled around the world, like filled notepads since I was 7 years old. My dad used to tell me, all I want you to do is make a page of notes. I want you to write the name of the speakers and give them a score out of 10 on how good of a speaker you think they are. And I still have those notebooks today, and all the high scores are the people who use humor, who use good tonality, who use characters, who use, they use all their parts of their body. And that's kind of what I modeled. But I was the guy who saw everyone on the stage hold the microphone and knew who they were in the organization because they were the most successful. So I had this fear of failure of not letting my mom and dad down, being like their son, they're like superstars, making all this money, and then their son's joined. Surely he's going to win, and then he doesn't win. I would feel like I've let them down. And on the other side, the fear of success, because if I'm going to succeed, then that means I'm going to have to hold the microphone. And what the heck am I going to do if I hold the microphone? Because I would just.
What a dilemma.
Yeah, right. So my daddy threw me under the bus the first time I actually joined. I said no for 4 years. Just because that fear just held me back so much. And my dad wouldn't force me because my mum wouldn't let him force me, although I wish he had kind of forced me, but I just wasn't ready. And the first event I went to as a rep, I invited like 10 of my friends. All 10 of them came because I was in a lucky position that I had my dad who had the massive visual success. So they were like, finally, we're going to find out what he's actually doing. So there's 300 people in the room. My 10 mates are on the back row because obviously you're cool. You sit at the back of the bus, you sit at the back of the class. And when you're in an event, you sit at the back of the class, right? Back of the room. And my dad's kind of speaking. He said, I cannot wait to introduce you to the next speaker. My son, Frazer Brookes. And I'm like, I'm not speaking. Like, I've not been told that I'm speaking. And I start walking through the middle of the crowd, and my friends are like laughing their heads off, thinking this is going to be horrific because we know that he should be the last person held with the microphone. Everyone's like, oh, it's Simon's son. Like, wow, I can't wait to see his protege in action. Like, woo, this is going to be amazing. I grabbed the microphone.
The expectations are so high for all those people.
So high, right? And I hold the microphone at the bottom of the mic. Rookie mistake. You can visually see it swaying from side to side to side to side. It's so bad. And I was so overwhelmed with phobia and fear that I just burst into tears. 22 years old, burst into tears. And still today, and my dad, like, I was crying for probably what felt like 12 minutes, was probably like 15 seconds. My dad kind of nudged me out of the way, grabbed the microphone, was like, well, that didn't go according to plan. And I was like, oh, but I was so like, my mom was fuming with him, but
I'm sweating in just the empathy of feeling that pain of humiliation.
Right. So I'm like, and still today, those friends say to me, when you go speak around the world, like, do you cry when you're on stage now? And they still say it. And I'm like, well, let me ask you a question. What are you doing on Monday? They're like, we're working. And I'm like, all the best for that one. Okay. Right. So it's just like, see ya. So it's been, but that was probably the most pivotal day in my entire career because I promised myself, I'm going to beat this fear and I'm not going to let that happen to me. And my dad, although he threw me under the bus and he was quite direct and brutal with me, I'm grateful for it. So
there's a little squirrel moment here because I think you just actually dropped a nugget that most people would just like in this podcast, they would just, they're on their treadmill, they're driving right now, they're washing dishes. And you just said, I made the decision to not succumb to that fear anymore. Where I think one of my signature talks is called Breakdown or Breakthrough. And you create a story in your head, and it's the story that drives you, right? The internal side of you, that you make a decision of what that moment meant. See, I think a lot of people, they're put in a situation where they did actually break down, or they now create a dialogue or even like a commitment or like a tie to like, see, I'm not meant to be here. See, like I just always fall under pressure. And they start to create an identity that says, they reinforce like that self-fulfilling prophecy or some of their self-limiting beliefs. And that's interesting, Frazer, that you said, no, I'm going to beat this fear. Isn't that interesting? Little tidbit, little squirrel,
Yeah, no, but hey, it was because I think the moment you become fearless or in control of the fear that you have or aware of it, it's the moment that you become limitless. And I really believe that. There's that movie with Bradley Cooper where he takes a pill to become like this limitless guy. And I'm like, the only reason why he's become limitless is he's dropped all the fear of the person that he is, and he's open to like, I can crush anything. And I truly believe in that. So yeah, from that moment, I just went on to, I was just full of confidence, and I just shared my story with the entire world, whether I knew them or not. I just literally found someone to talk to. We'll break this down a little bit more, but found someone to talk to, asked if they'd be prepared to hear my story, and I shared it. And I always shared my first powerful story of making $300 a month. Now, I don't know if we can or can't do that these days when you put like a dollar amount to something, but
I just say tacos. I just say tacos. I was like, every time we're talking to somebody, I'm sharing a story. I was doing a call the other night, and I was like, Holly's making 24,000 tacos a year. Just like, and then I had a girl on my Instagram story. She goes, by math, tacos are $2, so she's making 12,000. I was like, well, no, I was trying to do a 1-to-1 conversion, but okay. So I was like, I wonder if the FTC is going to slap me and be like, oh, you're the taco lady.
Yeah, you're going to set a trend, the taco trend, hashtag taco trend. There we go, guys.
Everyone's going to think that I'm in some sort of like Mexican eatery MLM or something. I'm like, no, I promise you, we sell vitamins. So like, it's just.
No, I love it. And, you know, it's just been a journey. And I think the moment I went into the generic coaching and speaking was.
Because you're not building in the field. You don't collect a check from any company. So you're 100%, which is partially why I trust you. There's three trainers in this industry only that I say 100%. And then there's probably 2 or 3 that I'm like, they're like my second tier, but you're one of those 3 that I'm like, follow, do whatever this guy, like buy the books. I dare you again. I dare you triple time, like do it all. Right. And like, go to the summits. Cause it's like, I know that you are the highest integrity, but you are 100% generic right now. So you've done it before. You have the competence, you have the moral authority to speak how to build a massive business on social media, but now you're teaching legends across the world how to do it.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So my goal when I was growing up, this was actually before I got into the field, was one day when I was looking at my dad, not filled with fear, it was one day I'm going to be the most and I don't mean this to sound like big-headed or anything, because I suppose it is in a way, but I don't mean it to come across this way. I want to be one day the most valuable asset in network marketing. I want to be the most valuable asset. And that means creating more content, doing more lives, doing more podcasts, sending more emails, all the things that we have available. Because unfortunately, I would say that probably the number one asset right now is Jim Rohn, very, 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 very closely joined by Eric Worre, like really, 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 really close. And the amount of content that's out there from Jim Rohn is not as much as Eric Worre, and we're catching up, right, with the podcast and stuff like that.
Jim was, if you guys are just listening and you're new to the industry, Jim was one of the foremost like business philosophers. I think he died in 2008. And so there's no, that was really before the kind of content distribution of the internet. And so we still have some audios and tapes and books that he's written, but unfortunately in this day and age, everything is digital. So I agree. He was my first mentor. He's my first piece of personal development, was that 1 hour building your network marketing business. I wouldn't sign up for that class. I think I listened to that CD every other day, like going to work. I had a 2.5-hour commute. He was my original mentor, was Jim Rohn.
Yeah. And hey, so much has come from it. And even Tony Robbins today will say that Jim Rohn was his original mentor.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons how he got into what he has. So, and he obviously was a huge fan of network marketing. So I'm just grateful that people listen to me. It's still, and I have like a 3H philosophy of always be humble, be honest, and be hungry for more. And I live by that every single day, along with my very simple daily method of operation. Because I like to break it down to just real simple terms: is help someone new and learn something new. That's literally, if I do those 2 things, I can go to bed.
We're so similar, Frazer, because mine is humility, honesty, and forgiveness. And I feel like you can do so much with people when honesty is important to me, because I can say, Frazer, I love you. Like if you're on my team or if I'm mentoring you and I can say I love you, but if I'm not honest with you, that love is hypocrisy. Like love, you have to be truthful, but at the same sense, you have to be when you're telling the truth, you got to do it with love, or else it's just brutality. Like you got to, like I tell somebody the truth, but I got to give them love. I got to give them like that gentle hug and nudge. Otherwise it's just bloody and beaten. Right. So I'm right there with you. And I will say there's nothing to me braggadocious about you. Humility is one of the qualities I admire most, beyond your charmingness and charisma and your stats and all that. But I will say there's nothing braggadocious of saying you wanted to be the most valuable, because what that means to me in my brain, if you are the most valuable, if you and when you attain that status, that means that you've helped millions of people in this industry. It means that there are lives changing. What's so cool, and I think I've never asked you this, but one of the things I love about this industry is there's exponential downstream effect. Like you might impact a leader that you're coaching at a high level, and then she goes on and teaches and reproduces into her team. And then that new leader comes up and reproduces into their team. And so your value might impact 7, 10, 20, 300 generations down. Like it's this wonderful river of influence. I love network marketing.
Well, I'll tell you a story based on that then. So I actually only joined, I say only, but I joined the industry of network marketing to only make 300 tacos a month. Like, and I will say you can put the own value on a taco if you want. You know, Rachel mentioned how much it could be before. That's all I wanted, and that's because after 3 years, I could take all those tacos, and I could pay off my student loan. That was it. And again, because I had that fear of success, and I let the inconvenience of growing kind of hold me back. And I think it's Trent Shelton who now says inconvenience exposes commitment. I just heard it a different way as I was growing up. But there was a moment in my life where a leader of mine said, let's go to Russia because we've got about 40 people in the east of Russia who are building the business and they need our support. I said, no, you can go on your own. Like, you're Russian, I'm not. Like, you can go on your own. And he kind of looked at me as if like, oh, well, thanks for that. And I was like, whoa, inconvenience exposes commitment. I didn't say it in that terms because I didn't know that quote at that time. But I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get on a plane. Got on a plane, went to Russia. There was about 40 people in the room. No one could speak English. And all I was thinking of is I could be in the pub with my mates. I could be building my business online. Like, why am I here? This is absolutely pointless. It wasn't like an exotic part of the world where you like dream of going. It was like, not
Russia.
Not right? Yeah, right. Holes in the floor to go to the toilet kind of scene, right?
Yes.
So anyway, on the way back, we stop off in Moscow for a random meeting for like 20 people that had stemmed from those 40 people who did the work with the training that we worked. We were there for a couple of weeks. And that was where I met Svetlana, my wife, nearly 8 years ago. So network marketing turned from wanting to make $300 a month to actually finding my wife, which is crazy. But then I started to get the confidence because she was bringing the confidence out to me. And when I met her, I was not doing great. Like, I wasn't doing great. I made a bit of money, but like I was not fulfilled or anything. I'd not found a purpose. And I kept going back and forth to Moscow, from Liverpool to Moscow, Liverpool to Moscow, Liverpool to Moscow, long distance relationship for maybe 2 years. And one of the meetings, and I had a motivation to build this team in Moscow, right? So it was growing a little bit, like 25 people to 50 people, maybe 100 people, maybe 200 people. And in walked in this woman, right? She walks in, bit geeky, bit quirky, very shy, kind of an awkward haircut, awkward fashion sense. And she's like maybe late 40s, right? She walks over to me after the event and she speaks Russian, blah, 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 blah. And I figure out she wants a photo, which I still find weird today that people want to take a photo of me, but hey, I'll do it. And at the end, she asks me all these questions in Russian. I turn my back thinking I'll get someone who can speak to her in Russian because I can't. Again, inconvenience exposes commitment kind of kicks in a different way. And I go, Svetlana, can you help me translate what she's saying? So she starts speaking, blah, 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 blah. Svetlana then translates it into English, blah, 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 blah. I then say something in English, blah, 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 blah. It gets translated back into Russian by Svetlana, blah, 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 blah. And about 15 minutes in, I just see something in this woman. I think, you know what? She really wants it. And I saw a bit of myself in her, right? She was a bit geeky, a bit quirky, like not a great fashion sense. These awkward glasses on, haircut was a bit near. And I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna sit down with her tomorrow. That tomorrow meeting ended up being 3 days of Russian to English, English to Russian. And she built a team, right? She built 200, 300, 400 people. And all of a sudden, this is like 2000, maybe 14. All of a sudden, she kind of slowed down and kind of came to a stop. We found out that something happened in her life and it was just not the right timing for her. And I lost contact with her. And I was gutted because I really saw some potential with her, but she did grow a business and she made some money and it was great. And I felt confidence. Fast forward, GoPro 2019. The second time I'm speaking at GoPro, I'm fired up, I'm backstage, and I'm absolutely petrified. I'm half jet lagged, I'm half like pumped up the other side, and it's just this real weird cocktail. I do my talk, it's a bit of a blur, I still get a bit weird. My dad always said I've got the butterflies, but I've just learned to train them to fly in the same direction, right? So I'm on stage, I do this thing, I come backstage and backstage for a little bit. I then walk back into the crowd. People are like that, doing the high fives and all this. And it's like, hey, this is amazing. Why are people high fiving me? But like, yeah, let's take it. And Eric has this $1 million Hall of Fame, right? On the first day. $1 million Hall of Fame are people who basically make 1 million tacos a year, verified, are on stage. 15 people, and it's 13 men, 2 women, which is still baffling me. I'm celebrating them how I would one day want it to be celebrated if I was in that situation. After that, go backstage. There's this party for the VIPs and all that fun stuff. And I'm talking away. I've got my sparkling water with a slice of lime in it, and I'm drinking it away, like sippity sip, sip, sip. And someone just taps me on the shoulder and says, "Someone wants your attention over there." I turn around about 50 yards away. This woman in high heels comes running over to me, jumps on me, and starts shouting, "Spasiba, spasiba, spasiba." And I'm like, spasiba, spasiba, spasiba. That's Russian for thank you, thank you, thank you. I let go of her and I see this woman and I'm like, whoa, she's smoking hot, like mid-50s, kind of like nice haircut, like she just looks the part, nice dress, high heels, she looks confident. And I look right in her eye and think, wow, that's Olga from 2013. Like, are you kidding me? How are we here? And in her hand was one of the $1 million Hall of Fame awards. And at that moment, that was probably the moment in my life and it was only recently, right? There was a moment in my life where I thought, hang on a minute. I joined this profession to make $300 a month. And fast forward a few years, there's someone who's now taken that advice and earned well over 1 million tacos in a year using partly what I taught her, right? And it just made me think that we just grow into this amazing ripple effect, as you mentioned. And that story is always something that just sends shivers throughout my entire body. And I'm just so grateful that again, as I said, I'm so grateful that people listen to me. I really am, because it makes a big difference. So
you've got an incredible way, and the reason I wanted to, for the first of many, hopefully on this podcast, is to talk a little bit about, see that presumptive sale on our next series. We're going to go into all these things about how to build a Russian downline, but no. So you are an exceptional recruiter, and you teach people how to become world-class at this. So one of the things I want to dive into this, because I feel like obviously without recruiting, nothing happens, right? Like, I mean, that is like the gateway to all that is glorious about network marketing starts with the enrollment of a rep. Now we can just, sell product and retail, and you can make a couple tacos a month and for sure like cover a bill or two if you're like a really good seller. But if you really want to start to have some options in your life, you got to build a team. Now, question number 1 for recruiting, I think what holds people back in their warm market, starting there, let's say they don't have a presence. They haven't become like a ninja online. They've not built up a micro celebrity. They don't have a following, right? So they start off, which we all do, which is your 10 mates side by side in the back of the room at an event, or nowadays, like messaging your friend or text messaging or grabbing on a call really quick. But they're afraid of what people think, like what my Nana's going to think, what my best friend's going to think. What are your biggest tips if, I said, hey, Frazer, I want this, but there's something inside of me, that fear of what people are going to think about me doing this business?
Well, to be honest, I've been brought up in kind of a different way. My dad is like I don't know if you guys in the US know Simon Cowell, but he's very, very straight, strict, direct, and to the point. My dad's the Simon Cowell of network marketing. You will either absolutely love him or hate him with every single cell in your body, right? But you'll only hate him with every single cell in your body because you don't I don't know, it's just the personality you are, right? Because he's just so direct. And he's always said to me, Frazer, the only reason why I tell every single person about what I'm doing is because I believe that it's my duty to tell every single person I come in contact with, because otherwise I'm doing them a disservice and it's not fair for them. You know, we need this equality, and it's just not fair to bring it. So first and foremost, I would say to someone who's got that mindset is, well, where's your belief coming from? Like, where are you gonna get this belief from? Because I believe there's a cycle of success that belief turns into action, action turns into experience turns into confidence, and confidence makes you more belief. But when you have more belief and you take more action, you then gather more speed, and with more speed then creates momentum. When you've got momentum, the team is excited, and when you're excited, you take more action. So it's really kind of tapping into believing in the products, believing in the system, believing in your upline, believing in the leadership, believing in the company, and that should outweigh at some point the idea of people coming to you and saying, yeah, but like, when are you going to get a real job? Or that thing's a scam, or blah, 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 blah. So it's very important for you to show the new person who joins, especially, that like, hey, I'm going to support you probably more than any of your family have supported you. Because I believe that your family and friends want what's safe and secure for you, not what's best for you. And that's why there's that saying that you'll find that your family won't support you until they see strangers celebrate you. Because then they know when they're celebrating, you have something that's safe and secure that they can get behind. So bit of a weird one to answer the question, but yeah, it's getting in my opinion, it's getting that initial belief. I'm
the same way. Like, I truly believe like that unshakable sense that I have a gift. And like you said, a responsibility. It's my duty to share this with somebody. It's not on my responsibility if they see it, if they join, if they run with it, but it's my duty. And I think that that's especially when you're aligned with the right product or service or whatever, like something you're truly passionate about. Like, I know they will be better because of XYZ product or XYZ service or XYZ opportunity or XYZ team. Like I even say all the time, and you and I have talked about team culture, is even if somebody doesn't make a taco in my business, I share with my team all the time, and they believe it, that they will be better inside of our organization than outside because of the hope, the positivity, the growth, the love, the connection, the acceptance, the mentorship, which is lacking in this world right now. It's people are lacking good leadership with vision and, direct, loving communication. I want to put them in our little Bates Motel. When they're in, they don't get up. Like, just like, hello, come on in. So I get that. Now, you are a social media guru, a ninja. By the way, guys, we're going to continue this conversation on the Network Marketing Ninja podcast with Frazer Brookes. So this is just episode 1 of many of going back and forth this conversation. But see what I did there? Okay, upsell.
I love it.
Where to find new people? We're in a pandemic environment. So even those that were traditionally doing offline are now, I think a lot of people are having to funnel and try to get more creative with technological methods. But where do you find new people? Let's say, hey, Frazer, I've recruited 30 people at my warm market. I built up a nice little team. I've created some success and making profit in my business, but I want to go to the next level. Where do I find new people? Because it is network marketing. You market to a network. Where do you find that network?
Well, that's it. And it's important that if your list of people to talk to is dying, your business has a limit. It's limited. But if your list is growing, then your business has no limit. So it's so important. So I use a principle called Find, Add, Message, which is obviously an acronym of FAM, F-A-M, which is short for family, because network marketing is turning strangers into friends, friends into family. So again, you will hear you'll hear a lot of this, but finding Facebook groups that you're interested in. But what I would do is I would make a list of all the places you want to visit, all the things you want to buy, all the passions and interests that you have. And I would go and find Facebook groups on the passions, interests, and places you want to visit. I would then also use Instagram and find places you want to visit, passions, but things you want to buy. One of the best ways that I've seen work right now in today's age, because what I was working in 2010, is quite a lot different because there was no inbox. I was writing messages on people's timeline. It was kind of awkward, really awkward actually. But what I would do, let's say I was looking for, I really, really want a Gucci handbag. Now I'm using that because people know Gucci handbag, blah, blah, blah. Not recommending that you should go buy that because there are a lot of tacos to buy. But let's go, you're going to search for hashtag Gucci handbag. And now you're going to see all these posts of people who have made a post about Gucci handbag. So I'm going to engage. I'm going to double tap that. I'm going to put five hearts. I'm going to put 3 emojis, whatever it might be. And I'm going to go and reach out to that person and say, hey, I love that post you made about the Gucci handbag. I'm looking to get one myself. Would you recommend it? That's it. So the message, you find someone from a post, you add them or follow them or engage with them, and then you message them straight away. It's basically saying, hey, name, how I found you, and then ask a question. That's it. That is all you got to do. The intention is for the connection. It's conversations before commissions. Don't try and shortcut it. Don't try and skip it. The more people you look to connect with, the faster your list is going to grow and the more confidence you will get and postured you'll get, because you'll think, well, if this person says no, it doesn't matter because I've still got 150 people to talk to anyway. Instead of thinking, oh, please, Bob, please join. In fact, I'll pay for you to join if you just give me permission to sign you up, because you've got no one else to talk to. So Instagram using hashtags is amazing. Facebook using groups is amazing. Probably my absolute favorite though is top fans, the top fans badge of business pages. So the top fans badge is when you've engaged in a fan page, whether it's their ads or their page. Let's say, for example, Tony Robbins. Now, guys, use your own creativity and don't all go use Tony Robbins, please. Right? Get that marketing brain kicking off. But maybe it's a brand you like. Maybe it's Chanel or Gucci or maybe it's whatever it might be. So when you engage on a certain page for a certain amount, you then get the option. It comes up and says, you're a top fan. Would you like to add the badge? And they press, yes, okay. So when you're on a computer, laptop, you'll actually be able, I don't think you can do it on the phone, but on the laptop, you can click on the top fans badge that's above the person's name, and it will then pull up all of the top fans of that brand. So now the message would be, hey, Rachel, I saw that you were a top fan of the Chanel fan page. Thought it'd be cool to connect with you. Or what's your favorite Chanel product? Or have you been following the page for long? Right. So, hey, name, how I found you, give you a question. So I would use Facebook groups. I would use Instagram hashtags, and then I would use top fan badge on business page to find people all the time, like every day.
Never done the badge thing, but definitely Facebook groups, hashtags, humongous. And it's like so strange to me. Like, you're in business. Let's say you're to start like a Subway franchise. Like, let's say and they're pretty expensive. Like, you're going to probably put down like probably $75K, $100K to start a Subway sandwich shop, to, get up at dark 30 and bake bread and slice meat. And, basically put your entire nest egg in the hands of pimple-faced teenagers. It's like, it sounds like a great idea. And I remember a girlfriend of mine had several Subway franchises, and they told them that you need about 8 to 10 to make a solid, really good 6-figure income, 8 to 10 of them. And it's just an extraordinarily interesting model. But let's say that was your method. Would you stop at just making a list of names, like, okay, grandma, auntie, uncle, my best mates at college or university, whatever, come buy your $5 foot long, come get your tuna melt? Or would you get creative? Would you be going all down Main Street, all down First Avenue? Would you be like doing coupons? Would you be walking into business and say, hey, insurance agency, hey, I'm across the corner. If you need any corporate, party subs, we're here. Hey, here's some coupons to come and try this. Hey, here's a sample of some products. Hey, here's some chips, like come in and grab a sub and a drink, for lunch day. Like you just put down $100,000 in a business. You would go everywhere. You'd be thinking everything on making friends on LinkedIn. You'd be connecting all over the place. You'd be cold calling other businesses to say, hey, I'm here for all of your corporate sub needs, right? I'm just trying to think like on like a B2B level. So it's strange to me that people come into this business and they don't put on a business hat. And they think that trainers and coaches and upline, we need to teach that, to say, listen, hey, long-term, you're going to be constantly finding new ways to build your network, to find strangers, to turn them into friends and to make them into family. Third question, lead with the product or lead with the business?
Oh, so this is a real good one. So I'll give you a bit of context and background to my answer, I suppose. My household has grown up on sell the dream, build a team. Sell the dream, build a team. That's my entire upbringing, right? Entire upbringing. Dad, my dad was the kind of guy who's like, I've got 156,000 distributors and I've got 3 customers personally. Like, that was how I brought up. However, the industry has changed a lot. And if you're on stage and you say, sell the dream, build the team, and there's a camera in there, you're going to get a hand slapping. So I truly believe, especially when you have such an incredible product, and if you feel that you don't have an incredible product, you should probably think about your business long term, right? But if you have such an incredible product, then I believe customers, lead with the product, but make sure that you have a customer upgrading system that you do not skip. So a lot of people don't ask that question, because I ask the upgrade question because they're like, oh, but what happens if they find out there's a compensation plan and they stop buying? They won't stop buying if they love the product, right?
Yeah.
And if they do stop buying, they're not going to buy it anyway long term. So the answer to the question is, for me, is if you're working your business 5 or 6 days a week, have 3 or 4, maybe 5 days of the 6 where you're leading with the product, and have 1 day where you've got building the business hat on, where you're like, you know what, I'm going to go out there and build business. I'm going to go out there and build business partners. Because otherwise, if you don't know what you're going to do at that moment, you will think, oh, should I ask my upline, Rachel? You'll know, you know the answer to every question. Should I leave? I've got this friend Bob Jones. I've just met them in a Subway group, and from the look of his profile, he likes traveling, but he also likes to be healthy, fit and healthy. Would you lead with the product or lead with the business? And you're like, why should that question be asked? Like, it shouldn't need to be asked. It should be like, it's Monday, Money Mondays. Let's go with the product. Let's go with the business, whatever it might be. So that is kind of how I would answer that question. And is because I have got to appeal to both sides, right? But yeah, it's important. I'll tell you this one thing, right? We used to do this 5-day challenge, which used to be the last week of the first month that someone joins, right? And it was always done with all the new people. So we would have a class. So it would be the class of 2021, the first class of 2021, and the last week would be their introduction to social media. And it was a 5-day challenge where they had to find, add, and message 300 people. And how it was positioned was, my dad used to come on, I used to set it up, give them the challenge and all this. And my dad used to come on and do this piece, it was great. And it basically went like this: listen, your goal is to get 300 people. Now, imagine if it was your big birthday, your 21st birthday, your 30th birthday, your 50th birthday, whatever the next big milestone for you is. And I was to ask you, who would you like to sing at your party? And people are like, commenting in the chat, like Beyonce, Coldplay, Pink, Lady Gaga, I don't know any, Justin Bieber, I think he's still going, like Justin Timberlake, like whatever. Okay, cool. All right. And we're going to do this catering. We're going to get the best chef in the world. What kind of food would you like? Oh, Indian, Chinese, Italian. Oh, this is good. We've got Coldplay and Indian. This is a recipe for disaster right now. And what comedian would you like to be at the halftime break? Oh, Kevin Hart, Lee Evans, Peter Kay, all these different people. Like, oh, this is a great party. Now, here's the thing. If you get 300 or more, I'm going to pay for this party. If you get 299 or less, you're paying. Who are you going to find, add, message? And the answer is always, I'm going to find, add, message anyone. I don't care who they are. I'm just going to find them and add them and I'm going to message them. That's my job. And we found that we tested, it's really weird because I test everything. We tested it, doing it without that story and doing it with that story. And every time we did it with that class, always hit the 300 because they just were like, I've got to get it. Like, no matter what, it doesn't matter who I speak to. I'm just going to go. So that just really helped the new person, especially when they were just getting started on social media, to just get really good at just building a list of people, getting a bit of rejection, getting no replies and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I hope that helps.
I think a big mistake in recruiting in this whole, and you're right, the industry has shifted to be product centric, to be customer focused. I think it is more higher integrity to do so. And it's also casting a larger net because here in the United States, Social Security Administration will say about 10% of the population is entrepreneurial or small business owners. And so I'll take that to about 15% is actually business minded. So you're casting a net for business. You're only talking to 1 out of 6, 1 out of 7 people, where when you have a great product, you're casting a much larger net. And the question is your customer a destination or a doorway? And I think that people look at their customers as transactional. For me, Frazer, I've recruited 1,000 plus people online over the last 10 years, like 1,200 some people, lost count. And my customers, or when I look at my distributors, half started as customers.
Yeah.
Half of them. And so it's what is the customer experience that you're giving them? How are you making them feel special? How are you then introducing them? Like when I make a sale, one of my first conversations after the sale is made, they buy the magical potion or lotion or whatever. And I say, listen, hey, if at all you're ever interested in making extra money, I want you to know I do this full time. These are my results. This is what our team has done. This is why I love this business. If you're ever open to a side hustle, let's have a conversation. Like, especially when you get the products, I know you're going to love them. Frazer, your hair is never going to sparkle so much. It's going to be so manageable. You're never going to have to go to that German hair salon again and get a horrible haircut. You're going to be like, amazing. You guys know, Frazer, like there's been some haircut debacles this last year. So, but I say, listen, I'm very assumptive. You're going to love these products. And when you do, you're probably going to be thinking about people that you could share this with. And if you're open, let's have that conversation. Will you let me know? So it's like, hey, and they're like, yeah, sure. Awesome. Thank you so much. And, it's one of those things where it opens up the doorway to that conversation. Frazer, I know I'm taking up so much of your time on this podcast. Is there any last things that you want to give as far as just basic advice for recruiting in 2021, or some of the mistakes you see, or some encouragement to the network marketer who, if they just get it with a 300 or more to the party, that they could change their trajectory this year? What would it be?
Well, you know what? We'll piggyback on what you were saying, because I think confidence can come from when you're taking a lot of action and you get a lot of experience around one thing. So if you're someone out there and you believe so much in the product, you believe so much, then make that a focus that you're going to promote. So what I recommend is I'm a great believer in network marketing is the greatest industry, because we are in control in a way of the experience that someone has. For example, if we go to Walmart or Amazon, you make a purchase, you get a receipt, it says, thank you for your order. That's it. Bye. You're next. Network marketing, you get a receipt, it says, thank you for your order. But now you've got a personalized on-demand rep who's literally going to show you how to use it, extra tips. I'm going to introduce you to the community, whether you want it or not. I'm going to give you encouragement. There's going to be accountability here. So here's what I recommend. When you get a new customer, go hard on the experience, like reaching out to them every Friday, like, hey, just checking in to making sure you're using the product, because buying it's one step, using it's important, right? A lot of people have products on the shelf. But after like a milestone, where usually after they've reordered, or maybe after like 90 days, depending on the product kind of timeline that you have, ask them a very, very simple question. Hey, I'm asking all my customers a real simple question to help me out. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your customer experience? How comfortable would you be sharing your customer experience with other people? 1 being, nah, not at all. 10 being, I'm in. Like, let's go. Like, this is amazing. Best product ever. Love it. They say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, you say, no worries. Appreciate you letting me know. You've now got to up your game. You got to up your customer experience game. You got to shout them out as a customer of the week. You got to send them a postcard. You got to take that score from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and so on. If they say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oh, it's on. And you're going to win either way, because you're going to say like, oh, that's awesome. Would you be open to checking out some information on how you could monetize that experience, right? And by the way, use product experience, not product story, because not everyone will have a story after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, but everyone has an experience. Yeah, I like taking it. It's awesome. You're amazing. And you're in control of that experience that they have. So it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Would you be open to checking out some information? Yes, I would. Great. Get them on a tool. Don't be a fool. Use a tool. If you haven't got a tool, create a tool. I know, Rachel, you've created some of the most incredible tools over the years in the industry, some of which I'm going to talk to you about on part 2 of this process. But if they say no, then they're saying no to making money because maybe they've got the fear of building the business, but they've said yes to basically wanting to share the experience. Get them to make a post on social media. And even say to them, listen, and it all depends on how your company's structured and whether they allow you to do this or not. But listen, if you help refer someone to me, I'll do all the work. I will give you the upfront commission. Yeah. Now, when I say this, a lot of people are like, yeah, but that means I make no money. Stop thinking short term. What happens if they reorder? That's yours. What happens if they fall in love with the product? You do this customer experience, scale with them, and they become a distributor and they blow up and become a million taco.
And Olga. What if it's Olga? What if it's Olga?
What if it's Olga? But what if you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't ask, you don't receive. So that's just something that I've seen work really, really well with giving clarity around, should I lead with the product to the business? You lead with the product, but the intention ends up being with the business, as you say, about a destination or a doorway. So I also think leveraging tools are just so important. And if you're someone who struggles with the follow-up, you've got to get over that fear because the fortune's not in the follow-up, the fortune's in the follow-ups. You have to follow up time and time and time. I don't know anyone who made a fortune just by following up once. But I know so many people who followed up for years and years, months and months, weeks and weeks. My dad followed up with me 16 times. But if you struggle, have a section of the working week, whether it's on a Monday and a Friday, a Tuesday and a Sunday, whatever it might be, where you're just going to follow up with everyone. People who haven't replied to a message, people who've said they're open and they haven't seen the video, people who've seen the video and haven't replied, people who said yes, but they haven't got started yet, people who said no a month ago. Because if you follow up in one go, you could do it as a team as well. And when your leader tells you, when you can see your leader doing what they're telling you to do, something magical happens because the belief just skyrockets. So I can feel myself getting like fired up talking about this sort of stuff because I know how much it changes people. But following up, like use the energy of one follow up after the other, after the other, after other. If you struggle with structured, diarized, like follow up at 7:30 with Bob, follow up with Mary at 9:15. If you struggle with that, then all in one go, leverage the energy, and wonderful things can happen. It's amazing. I
love that. A follow up Friday, do it in bursts. It's a phenomenal thing. You create that forward momentum, that inertia. It's awesome, guys. If you're loving it all, Frazer's energy, you want to go check out the Network Marketing Ninja podcast with Frazer Brookes. You want to smash the subscribe button and make sure that you start binging through his content. He's also got a couple of really great interviews with top taco earners. And I will tell you guys that we are going to continue this conversation, part 2 of this dialogue back and forth. We're going to be discussing more on his channel about team systems, about tools, about creating a leadership development platform. So hop, skip, jump over there. We're going to see you over there. Frazer, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. I love you to pieces.
You are the best. And I'm so excited to be subscribing and tuning in because I just absolutely love your tone and your energy and everything about you. So you're going to be one of 3 podcasts that I subscribe to. So I hope everyone else is smashing the subscribe.
I can't wait to disappoint you. It's going to be great.
Get all that fun stuff. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Awesome. And guys, if you haven't yet, do me a favor and smash that 5-star rating. And I know you don't have to, but please leave a written review on any sort of podcast platform that you're listening on. I really, really appreciate it. And if you get a chance to screenshot this and share it to your stories, I will repost you and I want to connect with you. Let's build this tribe together. I appreciate you guys so much. God bless. And we'll go see you over on the Network Marketing Ninja podcast with Frazer Brookes. Bye, guys.